pledge allegiance. Okay, now I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Want to make sure we got that on the record.
Thank everybody for coming. I just want to remind everybody that we still have the public hearing on short-term rental regulations open. If anybody has anything they'd like to say about the short-term rental regulations, raise your hand now or anytime during the meeting, I guess. All right. Everybody have a chance to review the clerk's minutes from the April 18th meeting. Anybody have any requests for additions, corrections, deletions?
Julie had emailed me a change. Let me just find it real quick. Oh, here we go. She said she just wants to change one thing. She thought she meant to say was short-term rentals of people who never step foot in the town and use it as an investment only. We have so many awesome second homeowners and what makes them great is the love of our area. She said, or please just take out the words that it scares her, either way. So without reading it, I'm not really sure what sentence I'll figure it out.
Okay, these are the clerk's minutes to adjust or correct. Public comment. That brings us to the first public comment. I see some faces that haven't been here in a while, so they've got something on their mind. Peggy, you're first.
Just wanted to get a status update on the town trail.
Peg, you're it, Bonnie.
We've got most of the easements out and I'm waiting. I got one returned last week for a whiteout of the notary. So that went back out yesterday to there was something wrong with the acknowledgement. And that went back out to them to hopefully get re-notarized and no whiteout. So that will be the very next place, Dublin. That'll be the very next place you can hit. And then, who was the other woman that you had signed that wants the split rail fence?
The neighbor, Susan
Neary. Okay, I couldn't think of her name. She's all set. She's all sent to the county. So we're just kind of waiting to get Dublin, which is the next place. Weist, which is that? Is that between Neary and Dublin?
I'm not sure that.
I know the names. I'm not 100% sure. Weist was signed, but not officially recorded. It was signed by the sons. No, by the father. The father died. So then I had to have the sons sign it. They returned it, but they didn't return the affidavit with the social security telling me that they won't give me their social security number. So I'm just waiting for that affidavit. So they're all out and back, but I just not completely back.
And
So
Jane is still willing to come down.
no, I'm going up there
You're going
on
up
the
there.
19th of May to sit with her and make sure they're all done and they're all done adequately and
She's retiring too.
yes, yeah.
We haven't nailed it.
Running again. There's two people running for that position.
Yeah, so her and I
Yeah.
have a meeting on the 19th to hopefully finally put this all to bed. Cause these were all easements that were supposedly recorded. And they're not, they're not adequately recorded, so.
Yeah, while she's still in office,
Mhm,
you wanna know.
yeah.
Once that's done, it plans to continue on.
Pick away at it as I can.
Pardon?
I will pick away at it as I can.
Looking to head towards Deer Meadows from where you worked last year, correct?
Well, connect the two paths.
Right. Get
Mhm.
those two paths connected.
On the other side of the road, but we've got to go from across from Drake's to where it crosses the state road.
Going either side of where you worked last year. Towards Drake's and towards,
Do you have?
We're working that way, right? We're working back up towards Drake's,
Well, yeah, either
Okay.
way, I mean.
Okay.
You gotta connect them to,
right?
gotta connect them.
Cause that's those are the easements that I had been working on because those were the ones that I found out were in,
Connect that part of the
Yeah,
trail to at
okay.
least get it all the way to your meadow.
right, to Deer Meadow, or to,
But the current
Your
trail needs some now because there's washouts.
Did it
Mhm.
today. Did you? Yeah,
Mhm.
that was good. You're up there today.
Anything else?
Bonnie
Connie?
had a call from Ethan, Spurrin, and, he's from Community Solar, and he was, inquiring about our interest in doing a community solar project. So Bonnie had him contact me, and so I talked to him yesterday. And, now you guys have some program with some sort of electric for the town?
Oh.
And-
Constellation?
Well, we used to have Constellation, but then it became less expensive to use a company. I can't remember the name of the company. It's another company that just is part of your electricity bill currently. So when I sent him all the electricity bills, which I have all together, but I couldn't get to cooperate this afternoon and scan. I did message him back. So
Okay.
I'm still working on getting him. It's a big stack of electricity bills. He'll see the savings on that. It'll be right on the bill. It won't be a separate bill. So,
So there's a couple of things. This is all solar and this is community solar. I know that I use Nexamp and have for a bunch of years.
mhm,
Town of Web is using Ampian.
mhm,
Like a 10%
mhm.
discount off the solar.
mhm.
So I didn't know where you guys were, you know, as far as the town with, if you're getting 10% from whatever
Mhm.
company this is. And if it's like with the town of Web, they actually open this up for the public. And of course, I was thinking about the school, and if everybody went with the same thing, it would save on their bills, but it would be a great way to kind of switch over, you know, to, some solar power.
Are you saying the higher number of participants gives you a greater percentage discount?
It's gonna be 10%, but
Right.
like everybody would get 10%.
Right.
And
right.
Dan, is on the program down there, and you can talk about that, but you said you get even more than that savings.
Just quickly, with that experience, town website for Ampian. It opened up the ability for residents to also sign up for Ampian. Essentially, you're buying solar credits from an energy broker that, so you don't know where your energy is coming from. They're buying it off these different marketplaces. And they're saving money in, these various fashions, obviously. But there is a 10% reduction in your energy bill for each individual public person that signs up for this program. I actually personally signed up for Ampian and I did like right off the top, 10%. Didn't change the way that my billing structure came right from National Grid. So and I just didn't know historically if that had been offered to residents, if they were aware of those programs, if that company that the town of Inlet uses kind of has said, hey, anybody that's in the town of Inlet could also do this to reduce their energy costs.
Mhm.
But this may be a way to do so if that.
And they said that they actually produce, it's not like a broker, they
Okay.
actually are the provider as well. It's
Mhm.
a fairly big company. I guess he was based in Toronto, but they have a big office in Boston.
Mhm.
So it was something, I thought, well, all right, see what, is currently available, and we're gonna offer that, if people were interested, offer that to the general public, which who would wanna get a 10% reduction on their utility bill, their electric bill. And then if we decide we're talking about possibly with the school, that might be a good option too. Which would help, counter some of the stuff that were, the bill electric increase because of the grow towers. So just kind of thinking outside the box here, going a little bit more solar. And then, saving both the town and potentially residents and the schools money.
It's an interesting way to do solar without having to have a solar farm in the town.
Exactly.
Let somebody else do all the maintenance and headaches and
Right.
we can save some money. So we'll find out how and when we can make that available to the public and adopt it ourselves. I'm interested in 10% savings on our
Great.
electric.
That's in your own personal bill?
Yeah.
Off the kilowatt price, not the transmission service, but the
It's just the
kilowatt.
electric part, not the wired part.
Interesting.
There's two parts on the bill.
Yeah.
It comes off the electric
Kilowatt
portion.
All I know is that my bill, I hadn't looked at each line item, it's.
Yeah.
About 10% less,
Yeah.
like just, it has been for 14 months, so over a year, it wasn't like it was good for a year and then somehow something happened, so. just dollars and cents, it was great.
Yeah,
So as soon as we get those figures to them, we'll know more.
Yeah. I had hoped to get them. this
If we're
afternoon.
gonna do this together, then I want to throw next time to, solar.
Are you held in or can you bail and go with somebody else?
You can change, you can say, okay, I'm not doing this anymore. so.
I mean, something better, something always seems to come along.
Didn't have to sign a contract.
All right, thank you.
yeah.
Definitely interested. Anything else for public comment? Peggy?
Yeah, just one more thing. Didn't we get a large grant from somebody for the Townsend Trail and we had to use that by a certain point?
We have a DOT grant to hopefully do something with the rest of the Townsend Trail. Again, once we have the rest of these in place, it was our hope that we could harden part of the trail with that. I will reach back out to DOT, but last time it's there, it's available. I, like you, am waiting to see the rest of the trail.
Was there one grant or two grants?
One grant. We received a grant a long time ago from the Musser Fund, way back.
Yeah,
It
that's what
started
I
this whole
was
thing, but this is just one DOT grant.
Most of that got consumed by engineering, didn't it?
That grant, yeah, that's
Yeah.
long gone. Yep.
Right.
Yep, that went to, I believe, CNS Engineering, and that goes back, I don't mean to drag it up again, but that's when DOT said, okay, put it on that side of the road. And then said, oh, wait, no, we want it on that side. And then they came back, no, you're right, it should be on that side of the road.
Wasn't the grant like over $100,000?
It is 105, I believe. Anything else there's another public comment at the end? Moving on. Communications. Anybody that hasn't been in town, I don't know if you noticed the two thin trees with no branches standing on the top of Corsani's Hill. We've been going out for bid for a shelter for all our equipment for the county and the town, and for a generator to use up the last of the federal money. Federal money paid for the two towers that are standing there now, or will be paying for that. Tarpon hasn't billed us for that. The feds agreed to allow Tarpon to purchase them under a sole source permit. Normally, you have to go out for a bid. The town would have to do a whole bunch of hoop jumping through because of the limitations of the Adirondack Park Agency. The Northern Borders Grant Commission allowed us to let Tarpon do the bidding on that. The town tried following the statutes for the shelter and for the generator to use up the rest of that federal grant money. We got one generator bid back in, and it was 14 months for delivery. We're dropping back yet again, punting. We met with Eric Kana and Ed Wright from CNS Engineers today on some stuff up at the fire hall. Looking to put a short tower at the fire hall, hopefully, because Hamilton County Fire, if they go on the tower, would be stepping all over the police bandwidth and the fire bandwidth from Herkimer County that the town relies on to use. We want to make sure we have the capabilities to use all radios here in the town, but the ones that we use the most need to not have anything stepping. I'm jumping all over the place here, but Ed Wright and Eric Kana allowed Tarpon to go out for a separate bid on their own for a shelter when we got no bids. Tarpon got one bid back, basically 159,999. I think I've got down here on my sheet. Last year, when CNS went out for bid for these shelters, they were $95,000. 160,000 roughly is a little out of line. And we still would have to go back to Northern Borders to see if they would allow us to allow Tarpon to source the shelter, and then for the town of Inlet to reimburse Tarpon for it. I'm a little hesitant to hand over $75,000 or $65,000 more money than we need to. I get that prices have gone up, but I don't think that much. I asked Eric Kana that if he would reach out to the people that they got bids on last year, since we were unsuccessful here and Tarpon was unsuccessful, we should be able to do some sole source seeking on our own for shelters and generators. Go back to the people that they got them from last year. It was a different company. And say, we understand you didn't bid because we put some constraints in there. We wanted them within 4 months. If we're looking at 10 months on this $169,000 shelter. Folks, for the emergency communications equipment on those towers, it's going to be another year before they're lit up. I'm still hoping that the cell service that's going on those towers, if National Grid comes through and actually buries the line to the top of Coruscant's Hill, that the cell companies will be able to light up and have cell service available, but we'll still be stuck with the, what I call marginal but usable communications we have now until we get shelters and generators that the feds will allow us to put up there that we can burn that money up. Yes, we've got a whole bunch of money that was raised locally, but it would be a shame to use that all up on money that the feds have already said that we could use the money on. And those have a whole bunch of strings attached to them as far as minority women business owner, green source, a bunch of other things. Not that I want to avoid any of that, but to keep the cost down for the rest of the little pieces of equipment we need, I'd really like to save some of the town money and the crowdfunding money for that. I know I just went all around on that, but it's been a busy couple of days trying to track stuff down on this for the towers. It's really frustrating to see those towers standing there and not having any power going up the hill. And I'll keep you posted.
That's a question.
Sure.
Is there a contract with National Grid to provide the power yet?
I do not know if Tarpon has a contract for that yet.
They do.
No. And I
don't
think,
they're the only one to blame in this.
no, there, you have two private property owners that the lines are crossing. And every time somebody asks a question from one of the different property owners, something happens. They have a right of way, but they do not have a contract. All right, assessors, codes, parks, building information. We're lucky enough to have assessor codes and information here. Adele, I think I made you go last time. I'll let you go first this time.
Do not, there's a lot of stuff in my report, so I won't go through it all. Lots of. And that went by. Couple things I did put on my report. First of all, I failed to mention the longest day walk that's happening on June 24th. Right?
June 24th, 11 a.m.
At Fern Park. Raising awareness for Alzheimer's. Taking place of that memory walk that we used to do. They did this last year, doing it again this year. I forgot to mention the banners, the road banners in my report. They are hanging, the Black Belt Challenge banner is hanging. I didn't know when it was going up, so because I kind of fell off the loop on that. So if my office is supposed to change them out, I just need to know how to do it. I'm gonna send Brittany up there, I guess. Something else not on my report was I just wanted to say I just want to say thank you to Toby for being so communicative between the departments and stuff. It's been very beneficial to the town to have Toby. That's all.
He's been a great addition.
He has been a great addition.
He and Beaner.
Oh, yes.
Am I allowed to say Beaner? Okay, sure. One thing on your report, I noticed, you still got May 23rd for the meeting with town of Webb. It's now on the 24th, isn't it?
I can't remember. We went back and forth, so I think it's 24th.
I just want to make sure, because yeah.
Did
I
I?
have 24th.
I have the 24th.
Oh, don't skip.
May 24th on the calendar part, right?
Oh, but in your red part up top. Meetings with both
Yeah.
towns.
Thank you.
Okay.
May 24th. I have it on my calendar.
Okay, gotcha. And just to reference that real quick, we've been trying to set up something with town of Webb so that we can jointly talk about the snowmobile program, the monies, the trails, the software, everything. And it was nice having Tom Greco here at a meeting last month. I think that helped spur us to have a joint meeting, and Bonnie really jumped in. And when I tell you there's probably 30 emails that went back and forth to get the date.
Yeah.
We're trying, but it's gonna be held in I know I've got it down for me, but I'm,
Yeah, so I saw the question, but it is definitely in their meeting room, right?
Yes.
I'm sure.
as of right now, it's in the meeting room and it is open to the public. It's technically their meeting because it's in their town. So I'm sure that they're gonna set the same parameters that we would, that it's a public meeting. but members of the public could sit in on it, but unless asked to talk, it's a dialogue between the two town boards. It's not an open public hearing or public airing of whatever, but that's coming from them at this point in time. Sorry, I didn't mean to jump on your
That's
report.
all right, no, thank you. And thank you, like that to Bonnie's best. With Thomas pushing, that's all I got.
Okay, Amy, anything from down below?
Tuesdays, May 23rd. And our usual hours here 2 to 4 and to 8. Right now I only have 2 signed up to come in the morning or in the afternoon and morning or evening sessions. Codes is busy picking up. Other than that, we're hanging in there. The new car is very nice and thank you. It works wonderful for us.
New to them, I want to make sure we point that out. It's a retired police vehicle that, you know, we had slotted to help the school in Old Forge with an officer at the school and community thing. That all fell through and it's worked out for Codes to be able to use that 4-wheel drive vehicle.
Helps us a lot.
And Parks is on vacation, so his report is attached. Anybody have any questions of information, Codes, or Parks? Police, I've got down here reconfiguring the layout of the police station. I believe we were waiting another quote on that. I don't have anything to update on that. Just looking at a better flow down there. We picked,
Sorry, quick question on was there anything we needed to do further with the grant for the highway safety traffic grant monies?
I don't think so. Weren't you, you were all set with it, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you guys had said go forward with the grant.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
That would cover it until it was reimbursed
Mhm.
if received. I just want to make sure there wasn't anything further.
we're just, no, I don't think, you don't need anything else from us.
No, it's
Okay.
submitted. I just wanted to.
Okay,
We did that last month.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
sorry.
that was the one that I had emailed about, that
It
you
was an
guys were
email
okay,
thing, right?
yeah, yeah.
All right. I guess that brings us to highway. You're it, Sean.
We hauled garbage and recyclables. All roads have been swept. We're gonna sweep the town hall parking lot tomorrow, tentatively. With all of our equipment been serviced, had an issue with the backhoe. Ended up replacing a hydraulic cylinder on it. We raked the Uncas Road, Evans Drive, Gilbert Road gravel sections. Cleaned up some spots from winter plowing and seeded them. Cold patched some holes on the roads and around town. We finished up the banner post on the black fly sign banner. Measured some sidewalks for replacement, figured out what we were gonna replace. I'm hoping to do them in June. And we checked Moose River Plains Road after winter to see what we had to look forward to, get it open for the spring.
How's it looking?
Not too bad. A little soft yet, but hopefully soon we can get in there and start breaking.
It ought to dry up this week.
I hope so.
All right. Sorry.
I'm biking it tomorrow when I make it.
Should.
Practice?
Mahoney and I are
You going all the way across?
right at the Indian Lake side, yeah, coming back.
It might get a little hairy in the middle. We turned around at the 12-mile mark because it's been years past the sunk out of sight and got stuck in the middle there, so I tried to get smarter and not tear it up. So
Do I get cell phone reception back there if I gotta call you? Come
negative. You gotta walk out to about the mile mark. Coming up, we're gonna haul garbage and recyclables, start working on the Moose River Plains Road. We're gonna get the plows and winter equipment off the big trucks. And we're gonna be doing our annual winter storm damage brush pickup on the week of June 5th to the 8th. All brushes to be out by the road. Please call my office to get put on the list. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to put off that culvert on the Parker's Road. Just the weather hasn't been cooperating to get our sweeping done. And we're gonna be against getting the Moose River Plains open before Memorial Day. The county's still on board to assist us with a larger machine. We plan on doing it in October, sometime in October. Apologize for any inconvenience. If anyone has any questions, call my office. That's all I have for highway.
I got one thing. Thank you for helping with the trails,
Yes, sir.
making that come together. I really appreciate that. They're all doing trail work.
Mhm.
I mean, and it's basically your main and repeat. So
Yep.
thank you for that.
Yep.
Long overdue, and I appreciate that, really.
Should have it done this week, at least roughed in.
Yep.
For the most part.
No, that's really good. That's working out good. I hope it doesn't cripple you too bad or anything.
No, it's fine. Right now, it's fine.
That's super though. Thank you.
Transfer station recycling.
The transfer station's open 7 days a week. 8 AM to 11:45 AM. Then 1 PM to 6:45 PM, closed from 12 to 1 daily for lunch. The place is neat and orderly. Pete's gone back over to the transfer station for the summer. He's still with us on Wednesdays. But he's gone back over to the transfer station. I'd like to thank Chip for the steps he built for the cardboard bin to help people reach the bin better. I believe he has it in place if he finished. I don't know. I didn't hear it. But he is building steps for the cardboard bin.
I like your new arrangement there out inside though. I think that's more efficient and plus it forces people to go.
Right, and with a single stream, it just makes sense.
I think you guys do, it's a good idea.
Thank you. We'll see how the summer treats us. We're gonna be doing a lot of hauling this summer with that single stream.
It is what it is. One step's easier, one step's harder.
That's all I have.
Okay. Town clerk's report.
I had forgotten a change to my minutes that Adele had under the Black Fly challenge. It was 300. It was stating that there was 300 racers approximately. It should have said in March. They had 300 racers registered in 2022, about 800 in March. Right? Yeah, okay. And then they sold out in March this year. So I'm gonna add those words to the minutes. That's all I had.
All right, supervisor report. I'm sure everybody's noticed the boat launch work is continuing and it's still not open. Thank you, State Department of Environmental Conservation. And lately it's been conversation.
Yeah.
I really wish they had gotten the paving and the fencing done last year, but I know when the guys have been there working, I've seen people pulling in with boats trying to launch them. I don't know if they've been successful or not. You know, the state picked this. The state has continued to, in my opinion, I'm gonna go on my little soapbox here, to use a site that's inadequate. If the region line wasn't on the county line, they should have moved this boat launch down to the Petrie Road, Elder Island, car top launching site. There's a ton of room for parking down there. There's a cove where they could have put the boat launch where it would have been safer and wouldn't have wave action coming at them. Yes, there are neighbors next door. Nobody wants it in their backyard, but not as close it is down there. And that became highly apparent when all of a sudden we realized one of the neighbors came up and saw a concrete pad sitting less than 30 feet from their house where they were going to be placing 2 porta potties for the summer. They tried putting the porta potties there 3 years ago. We called up and told them they couldn't put them there. They had to move them up by the road. They did move them up by the road. The state never gave us a set of plans that showed where porta potties were going. And if they had, that concrete pad would not have been poured where it is. Long and the short of it is, I've said it repeatedly, emails and phone calls from individuals work. I believe both the Nelsons on one side and the neighbors on the other side repeatedly hammered the email and the phone numbers for the department and were successful in getting the porta potties removed for the summer. They're not going in there. If anybody complains about not having porta potties there, they will put 1 porta potty up by the road, but it will not be a handicap porta potty.
Yeah, so, I mean, when they tore down that building, there were many complaints that there was no porta potty there, and it took them 3 years to put something there. So, there's gonna be complaints.
Well, I was at that building before they tore it down and it was absolutely disgusting.
Oh, it was, it needed to
So,
be taken down.
If they can't be taken care of, then it should not be there.
And the porta potties by the end of the summer have been hideous to begin with. And they're threatening to put a sign up for the handicapped to come to the town hall. I have no issue with anybody member of the public coming here, but it doesn't do anybody good when they're launching boats down there, and there should be a facility there, and the state can't handle it properly there. They're gonna have to deal with it. So people call me, they call Adele, they call all, it's not our site. We do what we can. The highway department has helped them clear sand out down there in the winter. We've launched the docks. You didn't put the docks in this year though, did you?
No, that's a new dock.
Brand new dock.
No, it comes out.
Yeah, but you know, they've got it looking really nice with gravel, and I mean, just without it being paved, it looks better than it ever has in years. And the dock is sitting in there. I don't blame the public for driving by and seeing the dock. I'm gonna launch my boat. Right, I'm off my soapbox, but folks, it's not open yet. It technically won't be open until they're done paving it and striping it. And I hope to God they're not asking for a ribbon cutting.
Any estimate on that?
Memorial Day was what they promised on the sign last year, and closing it before Columbus Day was hideous. It's frustrating because we've tried to work with the state repeatedly. You know, Sean works with them in the plains. We bend over backwards to do what we can to help. And when we've asked, all right, I need to move on.
You really feel.
I love living in New York State. I love the Adirondacks. I love the town of Inlet. I don't like some of the oversight. Thanks for asking. I already covered the joint meeting. Summer staffing. Anybody got a niece, nephew, grandperson, grandson, granddaughter? Grand neutral, I don't know what I'm supposed to say these days anymore. Anybody that would like to come up and be a lifeguard coach, please call either the information office, Bonnie, or if you see Mary Marlowe around town, we need people. That's a short meeting, folks, unless somebody's got something for public comment. Yep.
Sorry, I gotta be the jerk. Just throwing a couple things out there to put on people's radar. The Community Foundation of Herkimer and United County, you have some upcoming grant rounds that they have shown a willingness to actually fund organizations that service Eagle Bay and sort of cross that line. So actually last year, ICTF got a sizable grant from Community Foundation. So I think that there's an opportunity for the first responders or any of these organizations that would like any help or assistance with no match grants on June 30th. There's a grant round that for health as well as a first responder grant. That's the deadline on June 30th. And there's also an Adirondack grant round on July 31st. There's two separate grant rounds that are open. So all those of you who are on boards or servicing and, you know, ambulance corps, fire department, any sort of these other organizations, and you want a little help or we put on this, more than happy to help you out. I mean, you can only ask for it, right? They can only tell you no. And then just on the record, just want to give a thank you to Roost and to North Country Chamber of Commerce for Adirondack Albany Days, which was yesterday, really successful. And Inlet Area Community Task Force is represented there. So thank you on the record to those folks.
Very good. Peggy, I saw your hand up.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask about the steps coming into the building. Isn't there still?
We had a plan that we were talking with Hamilton County Soil and Water to do something with the sidewalks, and after going on a tour, that plan for precast breathable, permeable stuff fell through. I believe that's still on Mike's radar to have that replaced this year.
That looks kind of dangerous.
I will take that as second public notice that the steps need replacing. I would agree with you. And we want to move them out from underneath the overhang so that we don't get the runoff, the melt falling on them. It's very problematic.
But we just hate to see somebody fall, so.
I'm with you. Anything else, Dennis?
Follow up, I did mention it last month, the town of Long Lake is working with National Grid to install a backup system, a battery energy storage system at the end of our 46 kV line for National Grid. We all know the power goes out frequently and for long periods of time here. So the goal there is, to stop that from happening. At least for non-widespread emergencies, basically people taking out a pole in White Lake, which appears to be the majority of those things that happen. There is a meeting on Tuesday, May 23rd at the Racket Lake School at 6 p.m. It would be nice if someone from Inlet represents the town board. If you guys want to consider that, it'd be awesome. The planning board is sending representatives to fire department. And then I've met with, the company that's gonna own and maintain the storage system, and they are gonna do training for fire and EMS. They're probably gonna do it inland because Racket can't handle that.
What time is that meeting?
This meeting's Tuesday, May 23rd at 6 p.m. at the Racket Lake. So they're extremely interested, and they always do this, and when they put them in, is they train the local fire departments and EMS people about what to do, and more importantly, what not to do. This is a extremely high new technology, high levels of technology. You're not supposed to mess with it. Don't mess with it. It would be like us walking over and putting water on the national grid, 46 kV transformer. You don't do that. That's how people got hurt. And that's how they got hurt in Arizona. It's really what made all of these bad stories come true, is someone didn't follow the procedure. So they don't mess around. They train every single agency around about what to do if there is an emergency, which they have never had a fire, but that doesn't mean that it's not possible.
And this meeting is part of the public hearing first, though, right? This is
This is not a
not
public hearing.
it's not a public hearing. Question and answer.
This is kind of happening.
I was gonna say, it's done.
Yeah, the town of Long Lake passed the laws,
Okay.
they put it in their master plan, comprehensive master plan. Back in 2019, the property's been sold. The town passed 2 laws for regulating it. They have no problem with those laws.
I just wanted to make that clear to everybody that it's not gonna
Not
go up
public
and,
hearing, it's just information.
Yep.
But it is very close to us, and it really benefits us greatly, because power can go out less.
there's benefit, but in fairness, if anybody's driven through Racket Lake recently, there's a bunch of little yellow signs out. I think there's, anytime you've got a project like this, there's misinformation, there's disinformation, there's people that don't like new technology, and I'm not saying they're wrong, right, or whatever. The board's not making any statement other than the fact that we would like to have stable power. To me, the best thing would be if they'd ever figured out a way to backfeed, so that you had a loop. But it took them years to get enough power to go into Tupper Lake, to support the town of Tupper Lake. And that took, I can't tell you how many Adirondack Park Agency acts to happen. This was unfortunately what is called the easiest answer. Or fortunately. Gary?
Just a question, did anything ever happen about a charging station for electric cars? Information.
There's one at the school. There's 2 at the school.
It's operable?
Yep, it's working now. We haven't had a lot of use,
Well, I'm sure people are gonna ask me, so I just wanted to.
Right. but they are available.
And we just found out we didn't make the cut on the one for up in Fern Park.
At the school?
Yes, right on the Racket Lake side, right in front of the school.
Okay.
And I believe there's, and I'm not, because he's my brother saying anything, there's a couple at the Woods End too, correct?
You've got
Great Pines.
And Great Pines
and great-
And at the Eagle.
and
Bay.
Eagle Bay's bathrooms.
That's good to know.
Are any of them the faster charging, or are they all 110?
The one's in charge of the bathroom.
No, it's not.
It does,
It's
according
not,
to somebody who
it's not a
plugged it
level
in.
one charger.
No, we don't.
No, I didn't say it was.
I didn't think so, but I just,
It's not a DC charger.
I didn't think so either, but you hear lots of stuff on the street.
So how long does it take you to charge these cars?
Depends on
Oh,
how far your batteries now.
Well,
5 hours.
There's a
and half
lot of
charge
things that
maybe?
fall in on that. If there's 2 cars plugged in, if there's something else, if you,
so because they didn't draw them down then.
Yeah.
5+ hours, pretty easy to.
that's why, and again, this isn't a sales pitch for the Woods End or Great Pines, but stay overnight and charge your car.
Stay right there.
Yeah.
All right, folks, on that note, any other public comment? The board have anything to say? Nothing for executive session, a motion to pay highway,
So moved.
discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That truck's paid for. Motion to pay general and sewer,
I'll second.
discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? So carried. That groomer's paid for. Couple of big bills in the bills this month. All right, next meeting is on the 13th. I'd encourage anybody that wants to come and talk about the short-term rental. Our public hearing stays open. We have not closed the public hearing or taken any motion or comment on that. But there is a meeting at I'm looking at the wrong meeting here. On the 27th at noon,
Yeah, Saturday, no, at 9 a.m.
9 a.m. 9 a.m. to
You'll show up at noon, everybody.
9 a.m. 9 a.m. Too many meetings, folks, too many meetings. But that's the best place to engage the planning board, hopefully a couple of members of us on the town board there. But again, this is to try and make sure, in my opinion, that we can still allow rentals, but do it in the proper way. Okay, to protect those that have private property next door, but taking this townwide is our goal. On that, I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
Second. Okay, thanks for coming, folks.